Dad, stop clacking when he's
I'm not
counting.
clacking.
Thank you.
Clacking it.
It wasn't me.
We'll just go.
We already started. That was the countdown. That was you clacking. Mike, you were going to say something to Greg?
Greg, I caught wind that you might be into the NASCAR playoff chase.
Wow.
And
Caught wind.
Yeah.
Caught wind.
Is that like a fart?
I'm a casual NASCAR fan.
You consider yourself even a casual NASCAR fan. Welcome, brother.
Do you write on it like once every 3 years?
I rarely do anymore. Obviously, when Homestead had the championship race, I was there every year.
Greg, Cote, and I would go with Gary Long, and we would trek out to Homestead, and we would report and stand next to Richard Petty, and we would cover the hell out of that sport.
Damn right. Look at me, Damn right.
Every year, Greg, Cote, and I would trek out there to cover the holy hell out of the Homestead, whatever it was called.
That's right.
Speedway?
Homestead Miami Speedway.
Speedway is all you're missing there?
It should be
it was
Miami
called.
Homestead, but it's in Homestead.
Every year we went out there. The drive from the parking lot just to the track was about 3 miles because there were so many people out there. Greg, Cote, and I, with Gary Long in tow, would cover the hell out of racing.
Well, I'm excited that you're here because I don't even have just a casual NASCAR observer. I'm the only person that's really into NASCAR, and I'm curious your thoughts. We have the big championship race this Sunday. It's no longer at Homestead, which I'm sure you're bummed about.
Yeah, terrible.
But it's at Phoenix. What are your thoughts?
Right. Well, you know what? At least they gave Homestead a playoff race. I like Joey Logano. I know he's.
We're done.
I think he's the second betting
that's
favorite.
it.
You bring up
That's it.
Logano in the
mind
first
it.
sentence, and it's
Never
over.
mind.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
It's
But-
over.
Slowey Logano.
It's over.
Yeah.
But I will say this: I think their playoff format is too complicated. I think it turns off fans.
For a casual fan.
There's like 6 different layers where they winnow from this number of drivers down to 8, down to a final 4. I think it's complicated.
I don't like that you have to take their word for it, but in terms of making it easy for the viewer, throughout the playoffs, they have a live playoff table the entire time.
Sure.
It's
their
you
version
can
of
kind
a
of
bracket.
catch on to why people are passing, but I do find it absurd. And I'm genuinely asking for someone that knows NASCAR better than I am, and I'm sure there are many, to explain it to me as to why. Maybe they change it because Jimmy Johnson. How Kyle Larson is not in the Final Four, even though he has 6 wins, and the Final Four, no one has more than 3 wins.
It's a total flaw in the system, and that's one of my problems with it, is that it doesn't put enough stock in the long regular season. This sport goes a calendar year. It's like baseball. They go from early in the year to very late in the year. 6 wins should automatically be in the Final Four if it's much more than anybody else. I think that what needs to happen is the Final Four. You're going to think this is crazy. I'm the only one saying this.
Oh, no.
The Final
Oh,
Four.
no. Wait a minute.
Hold on a second.
Wait.
Okay.
Let's
Let me
just
gather
hold
myself.
on. Hold on.
Championship
Everybody,
Four, they call
hold
it.
on.
You're the only one saying
Just
it.
hold
though.
on.
Right.
Everybody,
He lets me say it.
Everybody settle down.
Okay.
Okay? Because you've been elevated here for a while, and I'm going to let you say it, but you're promising the audience right now something that no one else is saying. You're going to have a racing take about their playoff format that hasn't been said by anybody, and I want to give you properly the floor so you can deliver that correctly, please.
When it comes to the championship 4 in the final race of the year, those should be the only 4 cars on the track.
I knew it. We knew it, man. Mike said it. Mike said that's what he was going to say.
You should not,
I love it.
there should not be 30 other
one saying
cars
it, yeah.
affecting the race. It should be the championship 4 should be the final 4.
Yep.
4 drivers, 4 cars, and that's it.
Yep.
And that's it. You don't have somebody starting 34th who's crazy and intentionally driving into cars, ruining the race. 4 only. That's my plan. When I am the commissioner of sports.
I love it.
Thank you.
Brava.
Thank you.
And that's the incarnate word.
Yes, well put.
I do. Let's make me a biblical preacher who is spewing the word of God.
I think the word is God. I think the word is Jesus, technically.
Greg Cote,
Dan, the NFL news, it never stops. Diana Rossini is reporting, and I can't believe she's reporting this. Norv Turner is back.
No.
What?
No.
He
No.
is back as an offensive consultant for the Raiders.
This is not breaking
my
news.
God.
What are we doing? You're abusing the sounder.
No, that's big.
That's how you
That's
do
big.
it.
I don't know
Yeah,
what's
it's
going
big.
on across that sport, but also Dana Holgerson is back as a
What?
consultant for Nebraska.
No way.
So the
That'll
consultant
do it.
is a new thing now with Robert Sala. That this is the new thing we're doing. We're bringing this all-purpose coach who comes down and gives us his football thoughts.
Exactly.
Norv Turner. How old is Norv Turner? He's over 70.
Norvell?
He's 72.
It's the only ever Norvell first name I've ever known.
Yeah.
Who's the world's second most famous Norv?
I know the second most famous Norvell, but that's his surname.
Right.
I've never heard the first name Norvell.
Norval.
Is it Norval?
Norval Turner, not
Norval?
Norvell.
Wow.
Put it on the poll, please. At
Interesting.
Le Batard Show. Are we still making Norvs? And I don't know whether we asked it earlier. Are we still making Mals? We've been a little name obsessed today. He made him Hunter Travis. I do still think we're not paying quite enough attention to the fact that there's someone who seems to be good enough as an athlete at Colorado to play wide receiver in the NFL or to play cornerback in the NFL because he can do both very well. A little bit unusual, but since we're name obsessed today, something that just came across my feed that made me, I hadn't thought it before. Anderson Cooper. Do you have anyone in sports, around sports, or entertainment who has a first name that is both a first and a last name and a last name that is both a first and a last name? Is there anyone like Anderson Cooper whose first name and last name are both a first name and a last name?
A ton.
If we're doing
Yes.
technically Kevin Greg Cote, I guess. could
Michael
be.
Jordan. Jordan Michael.
Are
Terrible.
you saying just in terms of being a newsman? Because that way we can really
I don't think Michael's
Nail
a
it
last
down.
name.
Yeah.
It's Michael.
You can.
George Michael.
Al Michaels.
George
That's
Michael.
Michael's.
Yeah.
So
George
it's
Michael.
an
Michael.
S.
Right.
Okay, you're right. George Michael.
You guys think there are a
got
ton
me.
of these?
Well,
Yeah,
we've
there's
given
a
you
lot
a
of them.
Gator.
Well, George
already.
Michael.
Joan
Michael
Smith.
George.
Does
Joan
the person
Smith?
have to be a CNN anchor also? Because then it's more tricky.
That would narrow it down, yes. Of
John
course it
King.
Well,
was. King is not really a
Luke
first.
Really? You tell
Ryan.
that to King Charles.
King Rice.
King James.
It's not a first name, it's a title. It's royalty. King's not a name.
Yeah,
It is a name.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
A first name?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Big time.
King
What do you mean,
Rice.
Big time. What do you mean?
King
Big
Tut.
A lot
time?
of people named King out there.
King
Tracy
Tut.
Morgan.
King.
Don,
Tut.
Don
Well
King.
done.
Carol King.
Stugotz, do you have a top five
Billie Jean
mouths?
King.
Do you have top five mouths
I,
over there?
I only have 4.
Okay, top five. Are you ready? Are you ready for top 4 mouths from Stugotz? He doesn't even have a fifth.
Also, King Tut might be the first ever nickname in
King
the
is
history
not
of the world.
King Tut's first name.
Yes, it is.
No, it is
King
not.
Tut.
What do you call him?
Talking
It is
about?
not. I don't know.
He
Lou.
did with a donkey.
Lou Tut.
It's Lou Tut.
name's not Lou
I don't
Tut.
know what
Get outta
King
here.
Tut's first name was. I'm just telling you, it wasn't King. I know Luigi.
Isn't it Tut?
Luigi
He was like
Tut.
Cher. I
King.
think
Al
he just
Tut.
had
It
one
was
name.
King Lou Tut. Yes, Lou.
Huh.
I don't know what King.
Number 4.
Are there any Tuts?
Huh.
Number 4.
Mal in the middle.
I regret going to this list. Number 3.
He's
I
full
told
time
you
on
not
the
to.
Craftsman Truck Series. Did you know that? Yeah.
Number
Mal?
3.
Mal Gladwell.
10,000 hours.
Number 2.
Mal X.
What are you pointing at the camera for with finger guns in salute of Stugotz's joke?
Because the idea that Malcolm X was referred to as Mal X by his friends is funny to me.
You gotta call him X.
People probably thought that about Tutankhamun, and then they're like, "Hey, Tut."
Exactly.
It is the first ever nickname.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju. Do Malcolm X's closest friends call him Mal?
What number are we on?
Number 1.
Oh, geez, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened there.
No one
I wasn't
heard it.
ready for
You're
it.
good.
You did it in
No, I was
Spanish?
going to go Mal Kiper Jr., and I had to tell Dan before I did it that I had a 5th, and it's Mal Kiper Jr.
But what just happened? Why did you
Number 1 is Malcolm Jordan.
Oh, well.
What was this list again?
Top 5 Mals.
Five Mal?
That are
Mal-
also first names and last
The
names.
only thing that's saving me is in my mind, I'm imagining a 4-car NASCAR race on a super speedway, and I gotta tell you, This idea rocks.
It does. Thank you.
I think Dan is malcontent right now.
I'm
That was
imagining
Greg's friend.
I'm imagining people walking up to King Tut and calling them Luigi. I mean,
Lou for short.
ridiculous. Michael Jordan. You get it?
Yes, I did get it. It was good. I didn't know why you went Spanish. Though.
MJ.
I wanted to ask you guys something that Jason Kelce found himself in yesterday because I was really I don't know whether you guys found this interesting or not, but Jason Kelce and Travis Kelce have had put on them and have grabbed at an enormous amount of opportunity that usually just goes to the quarterbacks on how you build this sport to the future with its future broadcasters.
Andrea Mitchell.
And Andrea's not really a last name. Andrea? Is Andrea a last name?
Bocelli, Andrea, yeah.
No.
Andrea?
Billy.
Jason Kelce opened last night by apologizing, and I've got to be honest with you, Stugotz, where I often want people to just be their maximum self.
Right.
And I think Jason Kelce has largely been his maximum self, and I've liked who that guy has been.
Chris Wallace.
Chris?
Darren Chris. Yes, it's a last name.
We're looking for common last name.
But common.
Darren
Anderson,
Chris is
Cooper,
spelled different.
Anderson and Cooper. Those
Common.
are both common
Oh,
last
common.
names.
Just
Christopher's
one name,
Yeah.
first and last.
Yeah, common. Thank you, Billy. Excellent work.
Common.
There you go.
Jason Kelce finds himself last night, and this doesn't happen to me very often. I didn't want him to apologize. I didn't want him to have to apologize, but he is a father,
Jane Pauley.
and Jane is not a last name.
Thomas Jane. He played the Punisher.
It's not a common last name.
No, it is. I have a friend named Allison Jane. How about that?
It's got to be a common last
Everyone in Allison Jane's family's last name is Jane.
Mary Jane.
No.
Jason Kelce has to protect now a brand, an economy, an assortment of things that corporate opportunity will bring that will make him, I think, a slightly less authentic version of Jason Kelce than the one I prefer. It's sort of the pressure of what it is to work for Disney and Amazon and have all the opportunities. But Jason Kelce said he didn't want to meet hatred with hatred by tearing up someone's phone. But I thought Jason Kelce was behaving in character there as I would expect a football player to behave when you disrespect him in public.
Right.
And so I didn't think he necessarily had anything to apologize for, but I feel like a fool for arguing on behalf of you shouldn't apologize for destroying someone's phone.
Well, he was provoked into doing it. When I first saw that, I said to my wife, he's going to get in trouble for that. Obviously, he's going to have to replace the phone, and he's going to do the apology tour. But I'm glad he did it. And so I think you and I are on the same page here. He was provoked. His brother was insulted, and he reacted emotionally. And I don't blame him for it.
But he reacted as I would expect Jason Kelce to react.
Right.
It's not even that he reacted emotionally. He's apologizing for behavior that I think is in character with who I believe Jason Kelce to be.
Well, he also may have been apologizing for repeating the slur.
That's the way I took it. Like he was apologizing because he says I fought hate with hate. He used the word, like if the guy said, like he probably would have said any word back to him. But you just can't use that word. So I think that's what the apology was for.
Understood. You think he doesn't apologize at all if it's not that word in there? You think that there is I'm asking you because Jason Kelce and Travis Kelce are, I want to say embarking, but they're not embarking anymore. They've arrived at a roller coaster and a rainbow that has all of Hollywood's opportunities in front of them. These opportunities do not go to the center and tight end ever. Like it's not sometimes they go, no, it's always the quarterbacks. They have come to become a royal family of football. Does their behavior have to change? Because I thought you were hiring Jason Kelce to be Jason Kelce.
I'm with Dan. I think we fell in love with the Kelces for being the Kelces. I would hate to see them change because of the opportunities in front of them and because of the platforms they have.
Right.
I think that like he would have apologized regardless, but I do think that like the vast majority of people would have done the same thing he did, or at least like excuse him for smashing the kid's phone. So it kind of either way, like he comes out looking pretty good in it because not only did he give a genuine heartfelt apology, he stood up for his brother and stood up for himself against some dork that was trying to go viral.
Yeah, that's the annoying part, is that the guy filming him and obviously provoking him was really wanted to get exactly what he got, was that kind of a reaction that would make news and that would become viral.
So what are we doing, though, in this time of this economy for the Kelces? I want to ask you
Reese
guys.
Davis.
Reese is not a last
Warren
name.
Davis.
Jack Nicholas.
Marcel Reese is does not have a
Boom!
last name.
It's not a common
It has
last
to be
name.
spelled the
Reese
same, too, by
is
the way.
common.
Is Jack
guys.
a common last name?
Gabby Reese. I mean,
You're telling me that it's
Miles
not
Jack.
a common name when they have an anchor called Wolf Blitzer.
Jarrett Jack.
If I told you his name was Blitzer Wolf, you'd be like, that's ridiculous.
Jack Nicholas.
How many other Wolves do you know?
Right? Nick Wright.
yep.
Matt Damon.
Wright Thompson. St. Nick.
There you go.
Thompson Wright. Yeah, that one actually kind of works.
What was King Tut's real first name?
Tutankhamun.
He's got
We did
one
this.
name. He's Cher.
It's Tutankhamun?
I don't think they did first name, last name.
Jack Nicholas is our best one so far.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What about
Says
Leah
the guy
Michelle?
who said it.
Jess said
I
it.
said it.
The Golden Bear.
Sorry.
I hate to say this because I'm genuinely, usually when I see Nick Wright's face, it makes me happy because his ascent in sports media is uncommon, and I love that all the things and gifts are coming to him that sports have to offer, and sports media have to offer. But the reason I'm annoyed by him now and I don't like his face is, no, it's just because you come in with 14 straight Chiefs wins. And it's like your team is an
annoying.
Kansas City versus everybody.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry.
Sorts at right
I'm
tackle.
sorry.
Ed.
All right. But
Oh,
Dwayne
shut
Johnson.
the F
Yes,
up.
yes.
Oh, my God. The Chiefs have so broken everyone's brain that now the post game, it's a Zapruder film of like, hey, mid-second quarter, they called a face mask instead of a hold, and those 5 yards would have changed it. Oh, they missed a false start. As if anyone believes, okay, give them the false start. Then guess what happens? Mahomes beats you. Everyone's such crybabies. They drafted Todd Blackledge in 1983. The next Chiefs quarterback, hold on. The next quarterback drafted by the Chiefs to win not a playoff game, one game, was Patrick Mahomes. And I got to listen to people. They went 40 years. I got to listen to people be like, oh, you're so lucky. Shut up. Shut up and eat it. You guys had Dan Marino for 20 years. Sorry you couldn't get it done. The Packers had Favre, Rodgers forever. Sorry 6 years of Mahomes is by any measure better than 30 years of Favre, Rodgers. You guys can all shut up. And this idea that they got lucky or the refs, oh, it's rigged. Shut up. Good to see you, Dan.
All right, 4 shut-ups, and you wonder why it is I'm not happy to see the obnoxious Chiefs fan now gets to win all the games, all the close games, all the third down
Winning
passes he completes, all the fourth down passes he completes.
Yeah.
Nick Wright, 2 first names.
Yeah.
We already did this. Steve Martin was prop comic. It's how we introduced him.
Right.
But Nick,
I will say,
Brian Mark.
I want to have the best tone possible, though, because it's been a couple of years where we've noticed this right tackle, and it's been explained to me by certain Chiefs fans that he's not actually doing something illegal, but it
you
looks
guys
illegal,
kidding
and
me?
it's not like end of
He
game
gets a
stuff.
jump on every play.
It's not end of game stuff. It's
Okay,
something like
then-
you can
then
watch an
cry.
entire football game. Like,
Can
what,
I just-
what is
can
happening
I
there? I'm
just
asking.
tell
I'm
you
begging you.
something?
He's a cheater.
I'm just begging you. Like, can you explain it to me? Like, why am I wrong? Why is
I'll
it
tell
not
you
illegal?
exactly. I'll tell you exactly what it is. He smartly said, "Hey, who's the best right tackle in the league?" They said Lane Johnson. Let me watch his film. And what you'll see is Lane Johnson, for every snap of his career, has done that exact same thing. And no one's ever cared about it because what are we talking about? Like, I can't believe, of all the things to discuss, we're talking about a potential false start. And I apologize, Dan, for telling you to shut up. But it was more the royal we. It was the royal you. And by you, I mean all the morons out there who are trying to ruin the NFL season by going with these anonymous Twitter accounts who figured out the way to get aggregated is to snapshot potential missed calls. It's a terrible way to watch sports. It's an awful, awful way to watch sports.
Okay, and another awful way to watch sports is you getting to win them. 14 straight weeks. Your team always wins. You've got the best quarterback.
Somebody be better.
You are obnoxious.
And somehow, when Kadarius Toney lined up offside, we all saw it. He lined up offside, but it just wiped out an awesome play. Patrick Mahomes did more whining and crying than you accuse us of doing. And since then, he's had a very beneficial whistle. And there have been a lot of close calls at the end of games. It's true, though. But you're
Like what? Dan, can I
like
ask you a
the
question,
Cincinnati
Mike?
game was a little soft, but it's all right.
Hold on, Mike. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So here's a thing people like to do. they like to say that was the right call, but it made me sad, so I'm going to whine about it. Was the Cincinnati call the right call or not?
At the end of the game, no, I don't think that was the right call this time. No, I think
Okay,
I think that
the
you guys
pass
got lucky on that
interference?
one.
Okay.
Oh, but that
this
happens
what-
over the course of the season. You don't need to apologize for that. I'm just asking about like the right tackle, why I see it like all game. If I'm just like
Mike,
not informed on
Mike,
the rule.
Maybe from the luxury box, next Dolphins game, you can pull up the YouTube stream of an Eagles game and watch Lane Johnson.
Okay,
and see if
so
see
there's
if you
two
have the
cheaters
same-
that I can fixate on
No,
two
it's
cheaters.
again. I don't. There were a lot of things that I thought we'd talk about today. The minutiae of offensive line play
I'm stunned
and the
by
kickstart.
it. I'm stunned
of the
by
right
it. But it's your
tackle.
obnoxious face is the problem. The problem is the Chiefs
My
are winning.
face is not obnoxious. My
No,
face
no.
is crooked.
No, Nick,
there's a difference.
it's
I have a
obnoxious.
crooked face,
We should
which
vote
is
on it.
why
It's
I'm in a
election
weird
day.
spot, Dan.
Yeah.
As a bearded guy, hold on. As a bearded guy, you can empathize with this. If my beard gets perfectly done professionally, it looks crooked because my face is crooked. So what do I tell the barber? Like, hey, cut it crooked so it looks straight, or cut it straight and it'll look crooked. I'm in a weird spot.
It's
You
a terrible
luckily
dilemma. A terrible
have
dilemma.
a perfectly
A round
symmetrical
face.
cherubic
Big
round
yeah,
face.
Cherubic. Look, you
yes.
told me to shut up, and now it's cherubic. Look, this boy's getting disrespectful. Look, I know no. Wait a minute. 3 shut-ups
No, I
and a
don't-
cherubic.
hey,
3
hey, I'm
shut-ups
not
and a
gonna get-
cherubic.
I don't want to get not invited back. I don't want to get disrespectful. I listen to the oral history. I know we're not at a comedy club, but that can go left on people.
That's right.
So I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Be careful.
I'll be very careful. I'll be very careful.
Thank you.
Yes.
I am made happy though.
I'm surprised Nick is not playing the game correctly because his team has won back-to-back Super Bowls in 14 straight games and has the best
Well, but
defense in the
look,
NFL.
This is the
just
part-
say
look,
scoreboard.
no, you know what?
Stop being so
Okay.
defensive,
Okay,
Nick.
just
I mean,
say scoreboard. But
yes.
here is where I will tell him, Nick Wright. I'm proud of him in a lot of different ways. But this part, he disrespects the honor of what he's supposed to be as an entertainer and / journalist and societal commenter when he goes to the Kansas City parade and he's on every float and he's hugging every player and he's the voice of Kansas City in a way that's totally compromised, like biased, not in any way objective, can't even aspire to objectivity.
Proud of you.
Doesn't know how to find
Poppy
it.
was all on the floats. I was on a float.
That was my father. It was not me.
Hold on. Wait a second. Am I being lectured by Dan Le Batard about not showing a personal affinity on a national platform?
That's correct.
To your hometown team?
That's correct. While
Is that-
aspiring to objectivity. While
Is that what's happening
That
here?
is what's happening right now.
Good
you,
point by Nick.
you embarrassed us by hugging the Kelces, by being on all the floats. You have to have
He embarrassed you.
some level
Yes.
of decorum as someone who represents the media of Kansas City nationally.
Well, I mean, listen, I told you once upon a time, long time ago, that don't show that picture. God,
Great. No, it's so good, Nick.
That's a good picture.
Obnoxious face and
that's
all.
crooked thing
Can I
now.
tell you something right now?
That face is so
That's-
crooked.
That's my face is crooked
unfortunate
and my
shadow.
nose is casting a shadow on my teeth. This picture's better.
That's a better
This picture
picture.
I'm okay with.
Right.
The other picture is really unfortunate. It's really not great. And I don't God dog
Wow.
the last time I was on with you guys,
Guy in the background.
the guy in the background, it looks better than me. Tell you that much right now. If people are just listening and not watching, I'm seeing a cursor like create little boxes to try to zoom in. This is really,
Photobomb.
really highly unfortunate. I want the audience to know. Okay, here's my day today. I did What's Right with Nick Wright. It finished 10 minutes ago. In an hour, I go on with Colin. 2 hours after that, I do my show. Then I'm flying to Vegas to play in a poker game with Gronk and Helmuth and some other people. Very busy day.
I like your chances
Very
against
good.
one of them.
Hold on.
Help me.
Just wait a second. Wait a second, please. Very busy day. Despite all that, when I got the text, hey, Le Batard would like to have you on Tuesday, I said, drop everything. Let's make it happen. what do they want to talk about? It is election day. The Chiefs play Monday Night Football. They're like, we'd love to have you on and talk about both. I said, okay, we'll cut the pod short. I'll get to work late because I haven't been invited back on this show in months. So I'm like, got to make it happen. We're now 10 minutes in. We've talked about Mike Ryan's fetish of the Jawan Taylor's right foot and my misshapen face.
Yeah.
This is messed up. This is not what I signed up for here. I tweeted out just for you guys my electoral college map just to give you a nice little entry point if you want to talk that. And if you want to talk Chiefs, we could. Instead, we're talking about this poor fella who just happened to be at a Chiefs game, and now you guys are being mean to him, and you're being mean to me. This is, God dog it.
Nick, how did it feel to be in a political cartoon and be the representation of Josh Allen haters?
I loved that. That was a true. So can I have a, what do the kids call it? When you're being too genuine, like one of those moments. So growing up, my dad ran the Kansas City Firefighters Union for 30 years, and the Kansas City Star had a very anti-union cartoonist. And so around our house were 5 or 6 different originals of cartoons depicting my dad either as like a pseudo mob boss or the firefighters being jerks or whatever. That whenever one of those cartoons would show up in the paper, my dad would call the paper and buy the original, snap by it and put it around the house. And when this thing showed up in the Buffalo newspaper, and it doesn't say my name, but it's clearly me. You can tell from the hair, the nose, the beard, and let's be honest, even in cartoon form, the impeccable suit. It's clearly me. I hit the guy up, and I was like, you got to sell me the original. And he did. Credit to him. And so I loved it. I thought that was one of the dopest things ever. And I've actually been a Josh Allen guy this year. Because I've never been a Josh Allen hater. I've been a Josh Allen truth teller. And everyone's like, oh, Nick, you're a Chiefs guy. I'm like, I don't know. I've been more right about the Bills than I've been about the Chiefs. Some other people have been right about the Chiefs last few years. No one's been as right about the Bills as me. And this year, I think they're good. I'm sure you guys thought the Dolphins were going to put it together this year with Tua. 30-yard arm.
Okay, all right. I don't want to talk about the Chiefs anymore. I do with the last 10 minutes of your very busy day that we have with you. I did want to have you on Election Day, not just after a Chiefs victory, because I told you a long time ago, I don't know how early it was in your career, but you had spliced up on television about 5 minutes of commentary on race that was very high degree of difficulty. I didn't see it done very much on television because television generally doesn't have the room for it. On Election Day in an America that must confuse you, even though from Kansas City you've seen and lived around all types, and you've seen Kansas City boo unity on opening day because we've all fought about Kaepernick for 8 years to sort of welcome in this time in America. I give the floor to you now to talk about what is happening today because I don't know your level of fear. And I don't know how disappointed you've been by America over the last 8 years.
I'm going to take, if the floor is really mine, I'm going to take it in a slightly different direction because I don't know that I have the right to be disappointed. I don't think anything that's happened in the last 8 years is anomalous to periods of time and things that have happened over the 250-year time we've been a country. I mean, we try to act like, oh my God, we've never seen this. But I mean, Woodrow Wilson hosted a Klan movie in the White House. Like we had a chance at the country having a true racial reckoning, and then post-Reconstruction or the end of Reconstruction to basically guarantee a White House, they said, okay, we'll pull the troops out of the South and you're on your own for the next 70 years. We used to live in a time of political assassination just with regularity. So I try not to be hyperbolic about where we are because to me it lionizes where we've been. And I think we are who we are as a country. And we are attempting to be a truly multiracial democracy. And, it's fits and starts. What I will say is this. It has become popular to say you should not judge people for their politics. And I am just here to say, please judge me for mine. I want to be judged for my politics. I think that who you are politically is very often a very true testament to who you are. And so if you ask me my values, that aligns with my political leanings, and my values are who I am. And so I get bothered by this idea that it is a failing to judge people for their politics. I don't think it's a failing. I think it's what we're supposed to do. And if you have had your eyes wide open the last decade and you today are like, listen, I like what Donald Trump represents, whether it is because purely, like some of my buddies who are big in the poker world, I'm pretty convinced they are a single issue voter, and the single issue is their crypto portfolio. And they just think Trump will be better for crypto. So they're going with him. I judge you for that, flatly. Listen, I make a ton of money. I don't, the idea though that I would vote one way based purely off top marginal tax rate, I judge myself for that. You can, but you deserve, in my opinion, to be judged for that, positively or negatively. And so that's kind of my takeaway. This idea of like that, oh no, yeah, of course it's a private decision, but if you publicly espouse support for something that I think is anathema to what the country is supposed to be, which is a multicultural democracy where, because we're the richest country to ever live, we have a built-in, legitimate, long-term social safety net, you can feel differently. But it probably means I wouldn't enjoy, a dinner party with you. So I don't know if that answers your question. I apologize if my internet connection's bad right here, but that's how I feel.
Well, we enjoyed, though, the idea of you saying you make a lot of money while we couldn't get your Wi-Fi right. We enjoyed, we enjoyed, but I didn't get if anywhere in there you're afraid or you're just, okay, your scales were not pulled from your eyes. You've been paying attention to American history. And yet still, to see this overt racism make an appearance in its most contaminated, corrupt, obvious form by leadership, still a bit stunning. Still a bit stunning to watch it get this close to the throne.
Oh, no doubt. And certainly people were previously more polite than they are now. But here's the thing that was stunning to me. What was stunning to me is, like I said, I'm flying into Vegas tonight for this poker game. And I had like a real talk with my wife. Like, wait, because she was going to come with me. And I'm like, I feel like we shouldn't both leave the kids on election night.
How'd he play?
And both go to a swing state and I know that sounds ridiculous, but just the tiny bit of like, could really go sideways over the next 48 hours? Like the idea that was even in my brain was an indictment on where we're at to a degree.
Before we get you out of here, Stugotz and Greg Cote want to change all of sports, and they want you to make a ruling on this because they don't want last night's game to simply be a victory for Kansas City.
Can we go back to Vegas for a second? Because the reason I said had he play is I think Nick just wanted to go to Vegas without his wife.
Had he play. Yeah. Honey, it's an important election.
Democracy's in balance.
Our kids need you.
We can't both be
swing
there
state.
in Sin City, swing state.
I got to play poker on election night. I'm doing it for the democracy, honey.
For
And I'm
democracy.
doing it for the kids
I
as
should
well.
go to
Yes,
Vegas.
I'm
What's
playing
the
poker in
damn
Vegas.
question? What's the question?
Should the final NASCAR race only have 4 cars?
The question is whether or not Greg Cote and Stugotz should be given the all-encompassing power of giving the Tampa Bay Bucks last night 6 points for a good loss and docking Kansas City a couple of points because they winning in overtime, not that impressive.
We're trying to change the standings here, Nick, because sometimes teams are injured. Sometimes they do have a quality loss, like the Dolphins this weekend. That was a quality loss, a QL. And so we're just trying to change the standings. So I happen to think that there are certain times where the loser actually has a better night than the winner.
You've won 14 straight with the Chiefs. They want to change the way we do the standings.
No. This is just for the final playoff spot. The last wild card spot goes to the team with the most quality losses.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think the final playoff spot is unnecessary. So if we wanted to do a thing where that 7 seed didn't go to the team with the 7th best record, but a team who finished the season the best record over the final 6 games.
Hot at the right time.
The hottest team.
Yes.
That
Right on.
I think could actually be interesting.
Right.
And
Thank
I'm
you.
not opposed to that.
Thank you.
I think that could be a good idea. What I don't like is this. Because Dan, I don't know if you know this, but a couple weeks ago I turned 40. And the moment that happened, you know what I started to feel like? People are like, oh, as you get older, your politics will get more conservative. That didn't happen. But my sports take certainly got more conservative. I'm all about taking the points now. I'm a big punt guy. There are a lot of things. I'm run the damn ball. I like a lot of these things a lot more than I used to. And I see these guys like Ben Solak, who I like, and Warren Sharp, who I like. They're like, well, in 11 personnel, they're always great. And I'm like, you dope. Don't you realize that you got to beat them up with 2 tight ends to get in 11 personnel? So here's the thing. The reason I say all that. I think we have gone too far. There was once upon a time, it was wins are a quarterback stat. And then smart people, I think, were like, well, actually, wins, quarterback can play well even in a loss or poorly in a win. They're not a quarterback stat. But now we've gone too far to where wins are not even a team stat. It's well, you won, but what does that matter? It's I do think wins are a team stat. And the analytical community is out here telling me the 6-3 Ravens are the 4th best team ever. And I'm like, I don't know, man. They lost to the Browns and the Raiders. They're like, it doesn't matter. Their DVOA is off the charts, and that annoys me. So I do think wins are a team stat, and I would like to keep it that way.
Right. Nick, good seeing you. Thank you for making time for us on a busy day. It's always good seeing you. It makes me happy to see you, even though right now I hate you. I just hate you.
Love you guys.
Yeah.
Be safe. Talk to you guys soon. Good luck tonight.
All right, good luck in Vegas, man.
Chris Cote, we skipped past the useless sound montage earlier in the show, but I really did think that Jonathan Gannon, I don't know whether he introduced himself to us during this useless sound montage, but we're always looking for, the Chuck Pagano memorial guy who will just spit cliches at you, rat-a-tat-tat. Jonathan Gannon of the Cardinals, and you might want to pay attention to them because Kyler Murray looks really good back there. And if teams like Detroit are making trades for pass rushers, it's at least in part because they know they're going to have to corral some of these quarterbacks with a pass rusher who could slow a Kyler Murray.
But this is a very exciting day. It's the first time you have said something about that, like that about an NFL team. We should keep an eye on the Cardinals.
I'm not saying.
Wow.
I'm saying keep an eye on.
I'm going to keep an eye on them.
Keep on the eye on their coach because he's a cliche monster, and he hit us with a flurry of them in his post-game press conference after dismantling the Bears.
That's what's allowing us to win games is we take one day at a time, every second counts, maximize the day, keep blinders on, and go about your business.
That's 5 of them.
Crushed it.
5.
That's Hall of Fame stuff.
5 cliches. The man's a machine. Hey, let me hear it again. I thought he was going to stop at 3, but he just kept rising into the sky.
That's what's allowing us to win games is we take one day at a time, every second counts, maximize the day, keep blinders on, and go about your business.
And go about your business.
The blinders just brings me back.
I would think once you put the blinders on, it's almost impossible to go about your business. But then he took it a step further. Blinders are for horses, correct?
Yeah.
And they go about their business when the blinders are on.
Yeah.
My dad tried to say a few weeks ago that horses enjoy being on those rides in those
Asinine.
cars.
One of the most asinine things your father has ever said.
Look it up.
No.
Oh, was that here? I thought that was on the Greg Cote
No,
show.
it was here, yeah.
No, it was here.
And that
Ridiculous.
Conley would recognize him.
Asinine. Greg Cote, you were so wrong about that. Because you're a horse owner, you don't think that that's actually cruelty to horses.
Why would it be? You're protecting them from the stuff that makes them nervous and anxious.
Horse racing is cruelty to horses.
No, it isn't. They're very high-strung animals. They love blinders. They love being focused on what's ahead of them, not what's rat-a-tat-tat to the
I
left
think
and the
if
right.
Ron McGill were here, he would tell you that as a sport is either cruel or inhumane. They don't like any of what you're doing to them. They don't like that they're running, that you're whipping them. They don't like any of that.
What about dog sledding? Because I know for a fact those dogs love that shit.
Iditarod, the dogs do love that.
They love it.
The dogs do
Until
love
they
like
die
that.
in the snow,
Yeah.
they love that sport.
Oh,
It's
wait
cold
a
out
second.
there.
Hold on.
I
I'm
mean-
trying to back you up. As someone that actually drove one of those dog sleds, I was backing you up. But now, all of a sudden, I've changed my tune. Horse
Okay.
racing is murder.
Look, there's no horse that is better treated than a thoroughbred racehorse. Okay, there are exceptions in every form of life.
Just ask Bob Baffert.
Like Santa Anita, where they're all dying
well,
at a disproportionate rate.
that's the track, and that's bad trainers. That's not the sport itself.
It's an alarming number of horses dying. It is the sport
It's
itself.
too many.
It's the sport itself. It's if they weren't training the horses to race like that, they wouldn't be killing them.
That's
that
not the
way.
Valor way.
Okay,
He's
you're
right.
right. Team Valor, my syndicate, has a wonderful track record for leading the industry in healthcare.
That's why you join them.
The horses,
They have dental too, Dan.
the horses, they
For
run
the
a mile and
horses.
a quarter. Okay, they're not running marathon. They're not running 26 miles. They're running a mile and a quarter.
They're being whipped to run faster.
Not
Enough with
necessarily.
marathons,
Not
by the
all
way.
horses are whipped. And if
Dogs-
they are whipped, it's a love tap on
Yeah.
the left.
Only if
Some
they
are
run
na-
slow.
Yeah, some are nay-nayed.
By the way, dogs can suffer debilitating injuries after running in that race.
Yeah, they can die.
Including damaged lungs.
Yes.
Yep. Mhm.
Iditarod horses, yes, they often die.
Dogs.
Not Valor, though.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Team Valor's a
I-
very good syndicate.
My bad.
Be cooler if it was horses.
You
I
know
think.
what? Well, it'd be they die at a more alarming rate. It shouldn't be Iditarod and horses. That's my bad. It's a totally different sport.
Horses running in the snow would be fun to watch, though.
No,
Clydesdales.
Yes. Oh, that's a beautiful horse.
Do they like acting in commercials?
Greg, you
Not
think
good ones.
you don't think that horse racing is inhumane?
No, not at all. I mean, they're not humans, so literally it's inhumane.
Yeah,
'cause they're
technically it is.
But
In
Incarnate.
that sense, yes.
Ward.
incarnate word.
Cam Ward.
Big rival Montgomery Ward. Horses are well treated. Okay?
Montgomery Ward.
Yeah, that's the big rival of incarnate word.
Look up Montgomery Ward. Give me one. Let me get. I didn't think Greg Cote could end the show any older than he does any other week. The reference that you just made.
Yeah?
Do you think any of the people in there know who Montgomery Ward
Isn't
is?
it
Why
like the
wouldn't they?
Sears catalog?
It's a
Montgomery
famous
Ward.
famous department store of
okay.
your and of mine.
When did Montgomery? When is that defunct?
I don't know. I'd have to look it up.
Do you think it's this century?
Oh, of course. Yeah. Famous department store.
2001.
Yeah.
Headquarters in Chicago.
It was
I know.
rival. It was a rival with Sears and Roberts.
Classic Nelly.
What a great callback. Sears and Roberts.